welcome. I always have to start talking before the end of that clip because, to be honest, I'm not sure how when it stops and when we start. I've seen some of the when I've rewatched some of the interviews of these things. What will happen is it will stop and then it's like a 5 second delay where nothing's been said. So hence, I'm starting to talk. Hopefully, it works out. But anyway. Um, we want to welcome anyone joining us this evening. And we're going to have this opportunity to get you to come on board. But what we're doing this evening is, for me, the greatest artist that ever was is Michael Jackson. And sadly, he was, I would think he was killed on this day in 2009 for his publishing and for his money. But conspiracies, we'll put that aside. But we want to celebrate this evening. Brian, welcome, and Derek from Minneapolis, always welcome. And so, what we were going to do this evening, we were going to try and count down our top 10 favorites memories of Michael. So moments, different moments that we I would say something for me it's what I witnessed. Um, some could be stuff that you saw on TV, but for me it's what I witnessed. Gregory, welcome. And so we're gonna, throughout this evening, I'm gonna put the link in so you guys can come on and share your favorite moments that you witnessed with Mike. So this is gonna be an opportunity for you guys to join in and have your say, and then for the next to come in as well. But Miss J, how have you been?
Hi y'all. Well, I don't want to get emotional today, but it's a day of memory of Michael. Of course, you can see I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I love him. I think he's my husband, like millions of other women still do. So this is why I'm looking like I am right now. So I feel honoring my husband today.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it was. I do remember. I think that's when TMZ became big because they broke the story. I think I remember watching the news and watching the ambulance rushing towards the hospital and then
Oh
getting the
Lord.
news that
Oh
he'd
God.
passed. And you know, you think about it. If we think about it, he was just about 50. He was he up to 50 yet? No, he turned 50 in August. So
Yeah.
you can imagine how young he is. Because you think about what he was, a 49-year-old. So it seemed old at the time because, of course, we were much younger,
Mm.
16 years younger, but he was still, 49. So he's not up to 50 years old. So can you imagine if he was still around now, how much music and stuff he would have enjoyed by him? Not only that, how he would have taken advantage of the social media revolution and come up with new videos and songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But okay.
Oof.
So this was a moment of celebration and a moment for us to sort of talk through our moments, fun moments, about the great man. As I said, I'm going to put the link in. So while throughout the show, if you do feel as if actually there's something that you remember that you wanted to share, feel free to log in and you can get a few minutes to have your piece and stuff like that. So the link is in there now, and I've pinned it to the top. And if you it's studios and real streams, and if you can click on, and it will get you in for a few minutes just to share some of your memories and things that you want to reflect on about Michael Jackson and stuff like that. But so that we can start on a fun mode. So, Miss J, I mean, we it would be good if we looked at if you had one fun moment that came into your top 10 when you think back at Mike and stuff.
Well, there's one I think I told you about, but not many people know about. That's not. I don't have it on my list, but it was a personal moment for me. But I cry when I'm happy. Sometimes I'm cry when I'm sad. I'm a contagious crier. I cry too much. I'm a crybaby. But I'll say this one because it's not something that many people know. Okay, so everybody knows I love him. Who knows me, right? So I get gifts of like these were made for me for Christmas or my birthday or something because people know I love him. So I get Michael gifts. So I had a friend. So it was like 2001. Invincible was out, right? And everybody who I worked with knew. I didn't know it, but they said I talked about him every single day. I didn't know I was that bad, but makes sense. And so this one person, she left the job and she moved to Vegas. She actually said she ran into him. She saw him like in her store in Vegas shopping, and she was on her break, so he was leaving out of her store when she was going into the store. And she was like, "Oh my God!" And she was like, "Jay would not believe that this man just walked in my like we're in the same store." And she said she had to run after him because he was getting in his limo. And she said, "I have a friend in Cleveland, Ohio. She won't believe that I just that you're in front of me right now. She is in love with you. She's obsessed with you. And can I please take a picture of you?" And he said he was like, "What's her name?" She told him my name. And he said, "Well, tell her I love her more." And he said, "Sure, you can take a picture." He said, "Well, this is for her." And then he posted a picture, and I have that picture. So that's like one of the best pictures I have. I've never seen. I googled it because I kind of didn't believe her. I felt like she was lying to me. Like, you're lying. So I repeat the story again. And I've been searching for years to see if it exists online because I felt like she was lying to me and she bought it from like a store or something. But I have not seen that picture anywhere else. So to me, that's. He said he loves me more. I know he said it to all the fans, but I don't care. He said my name when he said it.
Oh goodness. Well, no, that's definitely a good personal stuff. Yeah, because there's something called 6 degrees of separation,
Yeah.
and you just it is always possible to connect with those that we definitely idolize and stuff. Um, I don't have any connection to Mike that like that. But if I think of a moment for me, in 2009, the year that he passed, he was due to do 50 shows in London. Now I moved back. I moved from the US to the UK in 2002, 2003. And while I was in the US from 92 to 2002, Michael didn't do any um, Michael didn't do any shows in the US. He did, he did the Invincible 2001 reunion show in Madison Square Garden with his brothers, but that was like 2 nights there. He was on he did the Grammys at MTV, but he didn't do any concerts in the US. He was doing history tour in the US, in the UK, around Europe, and the Bad Tour. It really started around Europe, and before it came to the US, that the charges came out. So he never toured in the US again. So it was sad for me. Like, well, I'm in the UK, in the US, and I couldn't see him. But when I moved to the UK, we bought our tickets to see him at the O2. And it wasn't. I would say if I can get the first night, just in case he can't do any of the others. But unfortunately, I got like night 12 or something like that. But we're still excited. But yeah, that was a sad thing that he passed away, and I never got to see him ever in my life and perform. And there are many people who would tell me about, oh man, you should have seen the Bad Tour, or people who would say that if you had come to see him on the history tour. But we've got somebody who wants to join in and give us their one of their memories is Denzel. Denzel, you're live with us. How you doing?
Hi, Denzel.
Hello.
Okay. So, do you have a memory of one of your favorite Michael Jackson moments that you want to share?
Yeah. Um, One of my favorite Michael Jackson moments, I would say my favorite that stands to me would be watching the HBO special when I was a baby. I don't tell my age because I'm like Mariah. I'm eternally 12.
Me too. Me
Uh,
too.
but there was just something about I can't. People always look at me funny when I tell them this story, but it's always amazing to me that ending where he, I come to find out later on that it wasn't him. That whole special stood out to me. Even
Yeah.
him getting in that suit and taking off over the people. That whole HBO
Yeah.
special was something that just stuck out to me the entire time, to the point that even growing up, I used to be one of those that before it was cool,
Yeah.
I used to emulate him. Like before I used to, I live in Missouri, and I used to dance around, go walk up and down the streets, and I would do the little spinning, I'll do the robot, the moonwalking, I would do all of the dances. And people would call me dancing machine and do stories on me, local news stories.
Oh wow.
And it's just always so interesting that this man's music has touched me,
Mm.
and not and I when I also think about my life too, there's bits of my life that I can really relate to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that you mentioned that HBO special because I actually had it on my list. And yeah, so for those who don't know, he did a show, I think it was in Bucharest or so.
Bucharest. Yes.
Yes.
October
And
October 21st, I believe. Yes.
yeah, and the crowd, which was amazing just to see the crowd, and he did all his big songs, and at the end, was he singing "Will You Be There"? I can't remember. I think it's when they're singing "You Be There." Then they're putting on the space suits on him, and
It was Man in the Mirror.
was it Man in the Mirror? Okay, Man in the
Yeah.
Mirror. They put on the helmet, and it's like okay, and you're looking and say, "What the hell?" And he just goes over the stuff, and it goes out. And Michael's left the building now. Of course, if you look closely, you might see the switcheroo. But back
Hmm.
then, especially if you were in the audience, you would think, what the hell, But yeah, that was to show that man he was still on top of the game. So that was definitely a good memory to share. Um, but yes, I mean, do you have a favorite song? Just before we let somebody else on.
Oh boy. Um Man, there's so many to pick. It constantly switches up depending on my mood. I feel like he's got a lot of underrated songs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of songs that, um, a lot of songs, but I would say my current favorite one is the full length Lady in My Life.
Oh wow. Beautiful.
I feel like that one is totally like slept on. Like, don't get me wrong, the album version is fine, but I feel like the full length one needs to be explored more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then the "Lady in My Life" is my all-time favorite song. Not Michael Jackson's song, just song in general
Ever. Yes.
ever. My concern is that but I'm too nervous to listen to the full version because when it's your favorite song, you want the memories of what the song how it is, and so I'm afraid to. I've got the full version, but I've not listened to it because I just do not want it to spoil the memories I have of that being my all-time favorite song.
It won't.
Maybe
It
one day I'll
won't.
be brave enough to listen to the second verse, but for now, I'll just keep it like that.
I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I feel like that is better than the original Billie Jean, the extended Billie Jean.
Mm.
Mm.
Because I feel like Billie Jean is better shortened in shortened form, but the longer version of Lady in My Life, he's really ad libbing and he's really nursing and really singing and serenading to you if you love him.
Okay. Well, I might be brave this weekend to give it a try and
Make sure
listen to
you
the
have a
full.
box of Kleenexes if it's your favorite.
I definitely will. Denzel, we appreciate you joining us this evening. So yeah, take
Thank
care,
you.
Denzel.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
Now,
Bye.
about that
Bye.
Bucharest performance, have you guys noticed how that exit has really influenced other entertainers after him, of course, because he influenced everybody.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce in her car going around the stadium, and
Chris
Pink,
Brown, and I've seen him do this.
everyone learns from Michael, you know.
Yeah. Brian, you said is it so there was the 95 MTV performance where he did a melody of his songs, and he did Dangerous, and he did You Are Not Alone. That was in 95, but I'm not sure if I don't know if the 93 one. Well, I don't know if he did anything in 93 on MTV.
93 for MTV. Let me see.
Because I know that in 91 or 2 he did Will You Be There, but
Yeah,
93.
that's on my list.
So Brian, you might I'm thinking that if it's the one that had Dangerous, that's Dangerous performance with You Are Not Alone, that was 95. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, both of those on my list.
Yes. Thanks, Denzel, for coming in. So everyone, pinned at the top of the chat, you should see the link. So if, like Denzel, you want to be brave and come on and talk about your favorite moments plus your favorite song, feel free to do so. But as Denzel said, on my list was the that Bucharest concert in '93, for many of the reasons as well. '93 would have been when he did the Kiss with Lisa Marie. No, but you think about it, because the album came out. The album came out in '95. The History album, which is 30 years this month, and so he then went on MTV that '95 to promote the album. And I think he married Lisa Marie the year, I can't remember if it was the '94. So anyway, so Miss J, so what was you gave your was first memory of with the picture? What was it? What's the second one?
I it's hard to put them in order, but I have 1978 The Wiz, because I tried to think about. I love watching him act.
We're talking about memories, not moments that you can remember. So if you weren't around in 90s,
okay. But I watch all this stuff. But to me, it's like it's memory. Okay, well, it's not going to be in order then. So, gosh, I love the performance when it was the 1993 Soul Train Music Awards chair performance of Remember the Time. I remember that when that happened. And I just never seen anybody before that like perform injured in the chair before and still kill it. Like he was, my heart was still racing even though he was sitting there, because you could tell he just wanted to get up. He was doing that, and he was still just there in the audience. Go, Mike, go! Like nobody loved him like the Soul Train or BET crowd. And they were egging him on, and just it was beautiful.
So I'm sure most of you would remember that tonight. At the time, Mike was had just released "Remember the Time," and he definitely was going to perform on the BET on Soul Train, but he sprained his ankle. Okay, he sprained his ankle. And so I'm going to invite Alex, who's just joined in. He sprained his ankle, so he wasn't able to perform, but he sat in a chair. He still wanted to show up, and it wowed the crowd, and he did his own thing. One second, Alex. And probably the best part was when he stood up on one leg, and we all thought he was just about to dance or something like that. And it's like, okay, okay. So we're going to invite Alex in. Alex, how are you doing this evening? Alex, can you hear us? Oh, no, we can't hear you, Alex. Is your sound on? Alex, can you hear us? No, Alex, can you hear us? Alex, can you hear us? Okay. Hopefully, no, we can't hear you, Alex. I don't know. Let me see. I'm just seeing. It doesn't seem as if your sound is connected, Alex. So if you can connect the sound, and then you can come back in, and then we can. Yeah, your sound's not connected. Um, but yeah, so so that was one. Joe said that MJ and Michael Jackson teaming up, creating hits like "Remember the Time" and "Blood on the Dance Floor" definitely was a good memory. I think for me, as a massive Teddy Riley fan, and to hear that he was working on with Michael on the Dangerous album was amazing. Um, and so it was almost like it was magical to listen to the album. But what was disappointing was to find out that actually "Blood on the Dance Floor" was initially put on the Dangerous album, as
I
well
mean,
as someone. Is it someone put your hand out? That
mhm.
was supposed to be on the Dangerous album, and then they removed it at the last minute, and it could have been a very different album if those songs were included. But yes, that was definitely a good one. Um, on my list, so Jeremy has put Motown 25 as number one. Now, I would say that was big for me, but I was a little too young to really appreciate what was happening. And I remember watching it, but I didn't get the hype as
Oh,
everyone else did later on because I was a little young. So I didn't, I think I was more impressed when he sang with his brothers than when he sang alone. And I think when he had when his brothers were all hugging and he was walking away, and I was like, look at that man. I was still disappointed that he walked away. But then again, there's a part of me that wonders if he was nervous and he was like, okay, trying to get into the routine of what he was saying. So he kind of let the brothers have their moments, and then when they moved off, then he was able to get into that performance of Billie Jean. But yes, that changed the game for him. Mr. I don't think you were around when that came out, but you probably saw the videos of it of Motown 25. But for many people, that was the biggest moment. In fact, if you guys know Bone Thugs and Harmony, Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, the one thing he said was when he saw Motown 25 and he saw Michael perform, he told his mom that he wants to be like Mike.
mm.
Although he got into hip hop, but he is forever inspired by Michael Jackson, even as a hip hop artist in both Thugs and Harmony. So that did leave a lasting effect on a lot of people. Okay, so Alex is back. I'm going to see. Hopefully, we can hear him tonight. So, Alex, we can sort of want to hear you, but we can't see you. Are you there? Okay, Alex, are you there? Oh, we can't see you, Alex. We can hear you better, but we can't see you. Okay, so we don't see you.
Background.
We see the background. So I don't know if your camera's facing the other direction. Okay, there you are. So, Alex, what was your favorite Michael Jackson moment? Hello, Alex. Oops. Looks like we've lost Alex. Looks like we've lost Alex again. Okay. Jeremy said he was just born. um, as you can see, Denzel has already come on. Alex is attempting to come on. We're just trying to he's trying to get himself sorted when he does. But anyone who wants to come on and share a moment as we reflect, please, the link is at the top of the page and you can come on. Miss J, what's another one on your list? Because as I'm seeing others put it down, I'm just then going to mix mine up as well.
I am too. So this one is probably not on your list, but what more can I give? 2001, 2002 era, and he had like an all-star cast of singers. Collect, he was gathering them. He was encouraging them. There's a video of the behind-the-scenes moments of that, and there's Sean Stockman from there's Boys to Men. There's Beyonce getting a phone call, and she was just. It was a beautiful moment because that's who got Beyonce to be inspired to become a performer. And I love that song. What more can I give? And of course, it was him being his generous, kind-hearted self, coming up with an anthem. So that was a great memory because it was one of his last times that he did that.
So where was that? Was that released on an album or was it just a one-off song?
It was supposed to be an album, but it got scrapped. It was supposed to be like
Mhm.
a kind of like a We Are the World type of situation, but
Mhm.
with the record label and there was a bunch of issues with it coming out. Videos posted. There is kind of a stage performance of it,
Mm.
and there's some behind the scenes footage of it, but it never came out like it was supposed to come out. I think I do still have it on one of my collectors, compilation pieces, but it didn't come out like it was supposed to.
Okay. Denzel, this is interesting for him. He was saying um, the one was about the 25 anniversary of 106 in Park and everything. My mum letting me know Mike was going to be there with the premiere of Rock My World. Oh, I do remember was that when he did go to New York and I
Hmm.
thought he was on TRL, but I didn't know if he went on 106 in Park as well. Um, that was, yeah, and you said you were showing our ages here because for me, I I can remember the making of Thriller more
Hmm.
so than the I can't I can barely remember when the Thriller album came out and Bad and all that stuff. Not Bad, Beat It and Billie Jean. I remember the videos playing, and at that time he was just like a normal artist. So when
Right.
Billie Jean came out, it wasn't massive. When Beat It came out, I was like, okay, this is we had just watched Warriors, and so it was like, okay, this is cool. But when the making of Thriller came out, that felt like a moment. The just watching that. I remember everyone watching it, and by that time I'd moved from England to Nigeria, so I was in Nigeria at this time, and it was massive. Just watching them making of a video, and you forgot it was the making of a music video. It just felt like it was the making of a horror movie,
Hmm.
because not only did John Landis had just finished doing American Werewolf in London, but the whole just seeing all the work that went behind it and stuff like that. And then which was the truth. It was Mike watching the movie of him playing a werewolf, and it was just mesmerizing. So that to me, on my memories, would be watching the making of Thriller, and just seeing how he just skyrocketed globally after that Thriller video came out. Yes. Any other ones that you can remember?
For me.
Yes.
Now I'm with you on that because that's on my list too, and it is a memory. I don't understand how you said. I'm not telling. I'm like I don't believe in aging myself, so I was alive though. I was alive, and I'm younger than you. But I remember things that you don't remember. Let me tell you, I was a fetus. Okay, but I was there for this stuff, and I remember being in love. I'm telling you, I can't even read or write yet, and I know I'm in love with him. And I wanted a doll. I wanted a Michael Jackson doll. I used to watch BET, and I would see it sitting behind Donnie Simpson on Video Soul every single day. And I wanted them dolls so bad. I never got any, but look now, I got them
You
now.
got him now. Okay.
So the Michael Jackson dolls. I'm one of 8. Like Michael is the 7th of 10 children. I My father would make us share everything. So I couldn't have a doll. We had like a bootleg Cabbage Patch or a little bootleg Barbie dolls, and we all had to play with them. So like it's 4 boys, 4 girls. We had to share one doll. Okay. So when I got old enough, I was so obsessed with that Michael Jackson doll. I used to see those commercials. I wanted one so bad I couldn't have them. Got 3 of them now. 3 of them. So that is that memory for me. Like Michael has his own doll. I want one. I want them all.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm going to try Alex again. But Denzel remembers Moonwalker. That was a big one.
Hmm.
And Jerry said he wanted the. Jeremy said the Jerry Curls. Oh my. Okay, Alex, can you hear us? And can we?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
finally we can got
Alex.
you. So, Alex, what was your favorite memory of Michael Jackson?
I was 6 years old when I traveled in Lancaster, New York, when I by Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay. Can you say it again, Alex? It just broke up.
I
Okay, say it
was
again. You were
six
six.
years old.
Yeah.
I watched the 30th anniversary celebration of Michael Jackson on a VHS tape,
Okay.
and I saw Michael
30th
Jackson
anniversary. The 30th anniversary. When was that one?
The 2001.
at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Oh, oh yes. Oh, wow. That's how young. Oh my goodness, Alex, you're that young. You were six. I mean, okay, yes, on stage with his brothers, and that was 9/11. That was the day before
2001.
9/11.
And, and was
Okay,
premiered, and I love this show. We have
okay,
many special guests, including
yes,
Deborah Cox, Whitney Houston, Destiny Child,
yeah. They
Billy
had
Gilman,
delicious.
the
Yeah,
Jacksons, Jermaine Jackson, Tito Jackson, Juan Marilyn Jackson,
yes.
of, of
He yes.
course, of course, of course, Usher,
Mm,
98 Degrees, Luther Vandross, and
yes.
Maya.
Yeah, he had Maya and then Britney Spears, so they changed. What's your favorite all time favorite Michael Jackson song, Alex?
You Rock My World by Michael Jackson.
See?
So
You
for those of you who do not know Alex, Alex is he is a music collector, and when I interviewed Darkchild Ronnie Jerkins, Um, Alex had sent me a few questions to ask Rodney ahead of time, and Rodney was floored. He says, "How did he know about that?" So Alex knew about songs that no one has seen or have never been released, and Rodney was like, "How did he know about that? That no one should know about that?" So yes, Alex is
A music lover.
definitely, yes, definitely a wizard when it comes to getting rare and music. But he's also constantly looking for the demos as well because he really wants to get the demos as well. But thanks, Alex. So rock my world. So we make sure Rodney hears that.
but
That's why
then
you go ahead.
I'm uh, can you ask Ronnie Jerkins to find the writer's stammer of You Don't Love Me by LaShawn Daniels?
I will send him a message and ask him because he has yes and find out to see if he can get that because yes the late LaShawn Daniels who wrote a lot of songs alongside Rodney Jerkins.
And
Alex,
also
look ahead. Go ahead.
can you and also can you ask him to find the writer's stammers of You Rock My World by Michael Jackson and Think About Me for Whitney Houston that are performed by the late LaShawn Daniels?
Okay. I'll reach out to him because as I said, he knows who you are, and I'll see what he says. But thanks a lot, Alex. I mean, it's always great to see you and hear from you. But I'll get in touch with Ronnie and when he responds, I will send it your way. All right.
Thank
Thanks, Alex.
thank you very much.
You're
Hi,
welcome.
Alex.
So, guys, yes, want to thank Alex. So, any of you who I got the Rolling Stones bag. Any of you who you got the Rolling Stones bag. Any of you who want to join in, please. The concert, the link is on top. So we've already had Denzel, who was one of the first, and Alex second. You'd love to hear the Jay-Z Girls remix with Michael Jackson. Actually, Mike was actually singing the chorus, the Girls, but uncredited, and they must have amplified his voice because you wouldn't have heard it. But I don't think he was able to do his actual. I don't know. His actual voice isn't there, but I think they just did something to the voice um, with that. So his memories. Benzin says memories of being at the first bad concert in Wembley at Wembley Arena. So for those who don't know Wembley Arena, so Wembley is the national football stadium in Great Britain. It hosts between 80 to 90,000. And Michael Jackson held the record for having the most sold out shows at Wembley, and which was bad. So I think he did 7 nights in a row, 7 nights or something like that. So that was massive. That was a record. Has only just been beaten by Taylor Swift last year. So it stood for more than 30 years. And it because you couldn't, no one could sell out that many shows in a week, and so it just shows you the level and the pull that he had. But think about it, he was supposed to have 20 shows, 50 shows at the O2 Arena, which hosts 20,000. He sold all of that out. So I also went to Aintree concert, which was amazing. 125 people. So was that Aintree in Liverpool? Because I was born and raised in Liverpool. But he's saying Mike was at Aintree, 125,000 people. That is definitely that would definitely be an amazing event. 50 shows, 20,000. I'm just trying to do my maths here. So that would have been 1 million people would have paid to watch Michael perform at the O2 Arena. Which he could have done, because I'm sure he could have done it as well. Bad memory of Michael was being accused and charged, and but listen to Candace Owens' podcast, which talks about how it's all a complete setup. When we think about what happened to the timeline with Michael Jackson, from the moment he decided to get into publishing, and he spent 25 million or so back in '83 to buy the Beatles catalog. This was before publishing music was as big as it is now. If you're hearing about artists selling catalogs, like Justin Bieber selling his catalogs for over 100 million or so. So Michael Jackson held on to not just the Beatles, because he bought ATV Music Publishing, which had the Beatles and others like Sly and the Family Stone, and other Chuck Berry and other big artists. He owned all of their stuff. Even publishing from Eminem, anybody, he was just accumulating that. And it got to a point where Sony says, "Can we merge?" And he owned half of Sony Publishing, and he actually had a big say in that. Now, of course, Sony, and this is it's not faction or fiction. And Michael's on record sharing this on stage, saying that, look, they wanted to, they're not happy that he's walking away from the deal, but he still owns half of their publishing, and they couldn't make a decision without him. And so it's sad that, a year and a half later he dies, and all that publishing gets sold back to Sony. So if it's a coincidence or if it's a conspiracy, it just seems like a hell of a coincidence that it takes his death and they get what they always wanted. So that's been the sad thing. But, in order to try and devalue him and to drain him of cash, all these allegations they're meant to try and actually limit his ability to perform or sell records, so that he needs to sell. But he still held on to it. And what he was doing, yes, you're right, he was giving artists like Little Richie and some of the black artists, he was giving them back their catalog. He helped them purchase and gave them back. So that was a move that they just didn't like. So I interviewed, and I'm gonna push it out, a former Sony executive. He worked on on Thriller. He was one of the VPs of promotions at Epic during the time of Thriller, and he talked about working on Thriller. But he couldn't confirm, but he did say, look, they wanted his publishing, and he was in the way, and it wasn't surprised that he passed. So, but anyway, we're here to remember his memories. So please, guys, at the top of the comment, you'd see that the link if you want to come on and talk to us and share your favorite memories as well. I think too much of the coincidence of that guy back in the 80s in his heyday. Yeah. Yes. So I think more than 25 million, according to Branca, and this was around. Which was this? Are you referring to? Are you talking? I'm wondering if this is the sales of the sale of. Okay, I can't remember what that is. Anyway, so Miss J, until somebody else joins us, we want to thank Denzel and Alex for joining us. What's another memory that you want to share?
I don't know how you don't remember this, but the Motown 25 had all the cartoons back in the day, recreating it like Alvin and the Chipmunks. It was on the Flintstones, like all these cartoons. Like I was little bitty, fetus, and I remember just like I was taking it all in. The Motown 25, I was floored, and in love, of course. I was already in love, but that performance had even the cartoons trying to ride the coattails of that, drawing versions of him. And so I remember that being like so little, watching cartoons and just being amazed that all this followed the Motown 25. And yeah, that was an amazing, groundbreaking performance.
Mm. Yeah, and as I said, it a memory. Okay, sort of. I think he was talking about how much he bought the catalog for. He bought it for about between 40 to 50 million. If you think about that, that was back in the mid 80s. So he probably, and that was an insane amount of money for back then. So he knew the value. He was an amazing businessman.
Michael was a genius.
Yeah.
People thought he was stupid because he was just a singer and dancer, just an entertainer is what they thought. Because there's stories about him being in the studio dancing while he's like Paul McCartney told him, about buying his, I'm going to get the rights to the Beatles catalog back, right? So a lot of people would say things about him, have conversations in front of him because they think he's just dancing and singing and not paying attention. He's a goofball. But he was taking all that information in and making money off of it because they weren't expecting, they were not expecting him to be so business savvy.
Yeah, I mean, but if we, okay, so we've got Jeremy about to join in. Let's bring Jeremy in.
True.
Jeremy, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Doing well. Okay, so what's some of your favorite Michael Jackson moments?
It's so many. I don't even know where to start. So, of course, I'm an '80s baby. That was all I knew as a kid. It was like you're born and then automatically you're a Michael Jackson fan.
That's right.
Funny enough, like I knew about Prince. I mean, I kind of started becoming conscious of music around maybe 5 or 6, and I think Purple Rain had just kind of started getting really popular. And I was like, "Who is this guy? Is he trying to compete with Michael Jackson? Like that's not going to happen." I became a Prince fan much later. I mean, getting into my young adulthood and things like that. But yeah, Michael Jackson is basically kind of the foundation of kind of like my childhood. It's just it evolved around listening to Michael Jackson, doing I don't know if you guys grew up in the Black household. Of course, you always got that mom or your dad wants you to dance. Like, show them that new dance. Show them that dance you do. Of course, I do my little moves and stuff like that. But yeah, that was all from watching Michael. And I would say probably I didn't really start digging into his music, like as far as getting into the production and stuff like that, until I started doing music myself. And I just listened to a lot of his music. I'm like, wow, it's the melodies and things like that are very catchy and simple, but a lot of that stuff is fairly complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, you know what? I mean, for a pop song, for it to be a pop song, to be as musical and complex it is, I thought was, the a test of the genius of Michael, and then of course Quincy, and then Teddy Riley later. It's just, I'm telling you, Mike is has been a huge influence in my life, and the things that I do as far as music and things like that. So
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, if you thought of if you had a moment, one of the moments that we've been sharing, what would be one of the ones that for you stood out?
you know what, this was actually in my adulthood, more or less than my childhood. So we used to have these in my previous job. We used to have these Christmas parties and stuff like that. And I don't know if you're familiar with. I worked for a Korean company, and they were really big into karaoke. So they had the Christmas party, and of course they had the karaoke bar, and they rented out this whole museum basically, and they had everybody sign their name if they wanted to do karaoke. So I was like, okay, I got a surprise for
Mm. Okay.
them. I went up there, did my little Michael Jackson dance, and they was clapping and screaming. I was like, man, I feel like Michael Jackson right. I wonder if this is
Okay.
what it's like to be Michael Jackson. I did
Yeah.
I did Billie Jean. I did the moonwalk, did all the moves, did everything.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And do you have a favorite Michael song?
You know what? I would say "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." It's probably my favorite. Well, "Off the Wall" is my favorite Michael album.
Mm,
Um, but it's hard. Well, it depends on the day because I think "Dangerous" and "Off the Wall" are kind of like my two favorites.
mm.
But I would say "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" is kind of like my go-to because that was the first album I ever got as a
Okay.
kid. I got "Off the Wall" first, and then I actually didn't get Thriller until later. I got "Dangerous" after "Off the Wall," and then Thriller later. But yeah.
Wow. Well, appreciate you joining us, Jeremy, and sharing those memories and stuff because definitely, like Denzel saying, his mum, he grew up in a black household, but they listened to country. I knew that when Thriller came out, every party that we went to were playing PYT and so it would if they said it sold 70 million worldwide. I moved to Nigeria at that time. They were selling his tapes and records out there. So he became a global icon, and everyone was dancing and rocking to his music. Yes. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Jeremy.
No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Yeah. So we've got Denzel, we've had Alex, and now we had Jeremy, who has braved and come on. So please, please, please come on like these brave guys and share your favorite memories and stuff. But one of the memories that I probably had that I wanted to share was I think it was the 1988 Grammys performance. Now he had come out with Bad, and he was expected to dominate. Man in the Mirror, all that stuff. But that's when I started to okay. So before I get into the story, we've got Mark that's coming on. So give Mark an opportunity. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, doing well, doing well. So, what's been your?
Back over in the UK.
Oh, you're over the UK. Okay,
Well, I wanted to.
go ahead, Mark. Okay.
That's the program from the Bad tour. I've kept it all this time.
Wow.
When concert programs were actually of a substantial size.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I've still kept this. Also, the Dangerous tour program.
Oh my
Also
goodness.
went to that one in the
Beautiful.
UK. But these programs, you can see the size of them.
Yeah.
See the size of them compared to what you get these days. And then obviously when he did the history tour as well. So kept all of them guys. And then I also, just because I'm a big fan, These are, you were talking about the This Is It show. I kept all my tickets. If you look carefully, you can see. They were called lenticular tickets.
Yeah.
That's the ticket for the concert?
So
yeah, I kept all my tickets. Yeah.
So Jeremy, Mark.
So when they sent the tickets out for This Is It,
go ahead.
Sorry, there's a delay.
You
Sorry
can explain.
to
You can explain to her. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Explain what happened.
So these tickets, when the concert was obviously cancelled, you had the choice of either keeping your tickets or getting a refund. And I decided to keep all the tickets. I was going to about 10 shows of the 50.
Wow.
Yeah, big fan. I even have, sorry, I don't want to keep on for too long. There's different ones.
Keep it coming.
But I even have there's a really rare one, which is called the Light Man, because he was going to come on stage in this Light Man. And that was this ticket. That's the rarest one. Wow. And that he comes on as Light Man, and then he comes out onto the stage. So I kept all of those. My favorite memory was going to the Wembley concert. I was 16. I'm 53 on Monday, but I was 16. And basically, when it used to come on big in the bad concert, there was all these massive lights, so you were blinded. And then the lights came on, and he was just stood there with the rest of the guys, behind him. And you would literally put your arms up, and there would be bodies that you'd have to pass to the front, people who just fainted.
Are you serious?
And you were talking about the end. Honestly, you just put your arms up, and when he did the Dangerous, and he came out of the stage in the toaster, and he just exploded out of the stage and just stand there.
Yeah.
People would just faint around you. They'd just collapse. And at the entry race course, you can check this, it's all recorded. The Red Cross, which is like a charity ambulance service in the UK, they had to look after 15,000 people that night. Of the 125,000, they had to look after 15,000 because people were just collapsing. I went to see him in Sydney, Australia with my sister, and she fainted when he came on stage, and she missed the whole show.
Oh my God.
She missed it all.
How long was she passed out
Yeah,
for?
we flew to Sydney to see him. She missed the whole show. She had to be looked after. She just fainted. Because where we were sat, you could see the toaster was about to explode. So he was about to get ready. The toaster comes up. You must have seen it. He flies up in the air and just stands there for maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he just twists his head, and everyone starts freaking out again. And then he takes his sunglasses off. Everyone flips out again.
Right?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And then at the end of the Dangerous concert, there was an illusion where he'd fly off in a jetpack.
Yeah.
That was at the end of Man in the Mirror. Obviously, it was an illusion. It wasn't him. He used to pay David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy for their illusions for the concerts.
Wow.
So they're my memories. And I'll be honest with you, every concert I've been to see since, apart from Guy in 1987, but that was, that obviously because I'm a big Guy fan. That was just before the Dangerous album came out. We spoke about that on your channel a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that used to go to Expansion Records and buy all the new
Jack Stevie. Okay.
Yeah, that was me. That's why I recognized him, because when he came on the show, I thought, I know that guy. He used to come in on a Saturday morning like me. But yeah, every concert since has just been ruined because nobody comes. Right. Honestly, I try and explain to my son and daughter that they just don't understand unless you've actually been there and physically seen him. You'll never understand. So
of all the shows you've been to, of all the concerts you've been to of Michael, which would you say was the greatest? Was it the Bad or the Dangerous? Or
I would say it would be, Bad was my favorite because at the time I was 16 or 17, and it was just amazing because that was his first solo tour. But Dangerous was even better because I don't know if you know, but he lost money on that tour. He had to write a $25 million check because he wanted it to be so perfect that he actually lost money. One of the guys who organized it was called Paul Gongaware, and he he said that he lost a fortune, and halfway through the tour, he had to write a check, and then all the accusations came. So he never really did the American leg of the tour. He had to cancel it early, so he lost a lot of money. And he was also donating most of the money to the charity at Heal the World Foundation he'd started. So yeah, he wanted it so perfect, because there was halfway through the show, you've probably seen this, the entire stage. So he stands at like on a podium, and the entire stage lifts up. It's the biggest stage at the time that was ever built. And underneath was a graveyard. And that was just for Thriller. Just for Thriller. He wanted the entire, another stage underneath as a graveyard. And then he'd stand on a podium. They put him in a box and he disappeared. And then you look up and the stage is coming back down. And he stood at the top of the stage and Billie Jean kicks in. So honestly, I can't explain it to you. There was that many like canon songs, just big. He'd hit you with Thriller, then he'd hit you with Billie Jean, and then Beat It. Come on, Working Day and Night. It didn't stop. You were just like, oh my god, it's amazing. Honestly, amazing.
Oh, goodness.
So I would say,
yeah,
the first bad show I went to was the biggest memory, because we got there at about 9 o'clock in the morning. We came down I live in the north, so we set off about 4 in the morning. We got there about 9 o'clock. We stood outside Wembley until 5 o'clock. Then the doors opened. We all ran to try and get near the front of the stage. And then Kim Wilde came on at 8 o'clock. And I'm ashamed to say a lot of people were booing because they wanted Michael to come on. They just wanted to get him on. And then he came on at 9. He came on at 2 minutes past 9. He was superstitious. Most of his concerts started at 2 minutes past 9, and you knew he was coming on. He used to play the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun. That was his little message that he was coming. And so yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I could go on about him all night. Honestly, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's been great, Mark. What's your favorite Michael song?
Two actually. Want to Be Starting Something, especially when he does it live, because he just used to go ballistic. And Remember the Time, because obviously I'm a big Teddy fan. I'd love a Guy 4 album, but that's another story. But yeah, the Remember the Time. I love that one. Okay. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Man,
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question for Mark. So how do you keep your collection of concert guides? Like, where do you put them on display? Where do you put them?
I used to, but my children tell me I'm pathetic at 52, nearly 53. So no, I just have them all kept away now. I have every 12-inch ever released. I have all the demos. I have everything. There's a lot of demos I'm trying to get hold of at Grouse Lodge in Ireland, where he was doing some recording with Brian Loren and will.i.am. And that apparently some of those tracks, I mean, the estate have bought those tracks now. So apparently they're going to be on the album. And there's a Netflix documentary coming called Behind the Glove. And it's actually going to dig into what really happened. It's not a hit piece. They're actually going to show what really happened to him and how he was blackmailed.
Wow.
The whole thing about where he paid the first child the money, if you actually read the legal documents, it actually says he never paid. There's a misconception. He never paid anything. It was the insurance company, because they filed a civil trial and a criminal trial at the same time. And if he'd have lost the civil trial, the criminal trial, they would have had to pay hundreds of millions. So the insurance company said, look, we're going to have to settle this. He'd just done a deal to sell some of his, kind of lease out some of his catalogue. So they decided the insurance company paid 20 million. And it's actually on the legal documents where it says paid without the consent or agreement of Michael Jackson. Wow. It's on the legal document. He never agreed to anything.
Yeah. Wow.
But again, I could go on about that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Mark. You really helped us and stuff. We got Tony coming on soon as well. But
no problem. Thank you so much for talking.
We're back this weekend.
Thanks.
Have a happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday Monday.
I watch every week. I do a super chat as well. I watch every week, and you're beautiful, by the way. It's lovely to watch. But thanks, guys. Honestly, take care.
Yeah, join us on Sunday, Mark, when we do history.
Oh, I promise I will.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Excellent.
Take care.
Take care. Well, that was great from Mark. Mark, thanks very much because it was great hearing from you. We got Tony waiting in the lobby. How you doing, Tony?
Hey, Tony.
I'm fine. Hi. As he said, well, first of all, it's good to see both of y'all. But my darling, you are beautiful with the veil, the eye, the makeup.
Thank you.
I feel underdressed.
I overdressed too much.
No, 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 no. It's good for presentation, honey. It is good for the
Thank
presentation.
you.
Oh, goodness. Tony, so what's been one of your favorite memories of Mike?
Okay, as you can see with the snow and the beard, and I'm gonna say it's hot here in New York, so it's hot. I didn't even know you guys was coming on, and I take care of my aging mother, so she's half napping. Actually looking at me now. She ain't talking. So when I said, oh, I've been watching when y'all get on, y'all do the top 10 or whatever, and I'm always like, how could you pick that one? No, no. How could you hate this song or whatever? Oh my God, I want to get on with them. I want to rein in. So as I'm laying here in the heat, I said, let me throw something on the head, and I can't wear the tank top because I don't want all the straps. So, but I would say my favorite memory of Mike, because as I was saying, reason I brought up the white beard is the Motown 25. The Motown 25, because you get, for me, who's in there over half a century. So I grew up. The Destiny album was my favorite Jackson album. Well, Triumph is the best, but Destiny was the one that kind of like, you know, if you listen to the Destiny album, that title, that's what you get for being polite. So, and we would see Michael off and on. But then Motown 25 was years later. And then it was like, you watching all these stars, the dun 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 dun, dun, Temptation, all this. Like, I get it. Then when he came out with his brothers, it was like, all right. I actually that's not my favorite part, but you feel the energy.
Mm.
But when he did Billie Jean, I remember in my mother's same living room, this one here, the TV was over here, and we were POOO poor. So we had a little bitty TV, and that's the only thing that was in it. And it was me, my mother, and my older sister sitting there. And I remember watching and just like, I knew who Michael Jackson was. I was a fan, but it was like, but after watching Motown 25, I was like,
Done.
that was it. And when you talk about when he went off to the side,
Mm.
what he was doing when he walked off to the side was he was giving the stage hands time for them to come and get that mic and put the hat down on the floor. That's why he would look over. He would look over like, okay. And that's why he was like, all right. I said, I thanked everybody. Come on, guys. Get this thing up. I need to go, get going. But that's that's the initial favorite memory, like of a performance. My favorite song, here's the thing. I don't I can't say I really have a favorite song because I'm like, oh, I like that one. Then the ones I remember Mike was in the interview and it was like somebody said he said he didn't like the song. He was like, no, 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 you're just not ready for it. And I was like, okay. People told the person, he's like, no, no, you don't. It's not that you don't like it. You're just not ready for it. And then
Done.
and that's how. Listen, there's a song on the Blood on the Dance Floor that used to drive me crazy. Morphine. It should drive me absolutely batty, And then years later, when there's a song, you put it to the side.
Mm.
I skip that one.
Mm.
I don't have to ever hear it anymore. But then, like maybe like a year after he died, I happened to just revisit it, and it was like, oh, my ears hear it definitely. Demerol, oh God, thank God, Demerol.
Mm.
Oh, and I love that. So, and I love it. Same way I use an so I don't have a favorite song, but I will say one of the songs I listen to a lot, I guess you would say my favorite is I Can't Help It. I
Mm,
can't help it. I always tell people if you
yes.
got a surround sound and you
Mm.
want to know if it's full and working, that's the track you put on because it starts off with the chords, with the xylophone, and then that it goes all and it just fills up. It to me, I often say that song is like an apple Jolly Rancher. And if you ever had an apple Jolly Rancher, depending on how you put it in your mouth, it either start off sweet or start off sour, but it ends up filling your mouth full of flavor. And that's how it's addicting. So I would say it probably would be I Can't Help It and Human Nature and Lady of My Life. And I'm gonna tell you, I heard the long version.
Yeah,
I I heard the long version, but I'm old school. You know,
yeah.
if my mama flipped my eggs over, I'm gonna flip my eggs over. So the original way I heard it is the way I love it. I love the second verse, no fortune or fame, blah 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 blah. But when you used to hear it a certain way, it's like, okay. But I'm not saying it's bad. It's
Mm.
fine. But me personally, I prefer what they cut out. And I was like, Q was right on the money when the way he chopped it. He was
Okay.
right on the money with that. Um, but then also, I would say my other favorite song is the one I don't think you particularly care for, or the Blood on the Dance Floor album was, and I disagree with you. I'm remembering this as going is is it scary? I love is it scary? 'Cause I love the way it builds up.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and then
Yes.
it brings, but also I love the lyrics of it. I'm going to be exactly what you came to see. So if you come to me to see your fantasy perform before your eyes, or a ghostly haunted imagery, you know, I love it. And to me, it's really what he's saying. He's talking to the people. So if this is what you came to see, am I scary for you, baby? And then in the bridge, I mastered the heart to hide a hurting soul, just like what I love that song. So if you ever get to talk to Jimmy Jam, which I know that puts you in one to Joe. I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy. Ask him about that and how they come up with it, and that I would love to know about that. And but those would be the three. But I love them all. I love them all. I do. I don't. I can't pick a favorite. I
Right.
can, but I can't pick a favorite because it's like as you get older. Well, I believe I'm older than all of you, but that's okay. That's the goal. But what I find when I used to watch the Cosby Show, remember when Bill Cosby used to put the record on, and it was a jazz, and I was a teenager, and I was like, "What is this garbage he's playing? Ew, what is that? Charlie
Mm-hmm.
Parker, what is that?" And I
Yeah.
remember it was like I was in my 30s, and rerun, and they played the same song. I was like, "What is this? What is this ever from man?" And it's coming in my ear. So as time goes on,
Mm.
I wish I would have known you was doing the Rodney Jerkins one because I wanted to ask him a couple of questions. Yeah.
Well, he did come on, but on Sunday, we're going to do history, and with John from Troop, because John's a massive Michael fan, so he's going to be on the panel. So, and he's got his stories about when he's met Michael and how Michael appreciates Troop. But definitely, Tony, it's definitely been great to have you on to share your stories, and actually, I've actually gone back to listen to history, and I didn't like the title track history, but I listened to it today and I thought actually it's not as bad. And I'm listening to Little Susie, and I'm listening to Smile, and I'm listening
See,
to Tom the DS, and I'm
yes,
thinking actually I expected so much more in '95, but then given it time, it's actually better than I thought. And so yes, it is the
I
timing, and
love
so now.
I love Little Susie. I love Little Susie. I don't listen to it because I was listening to how you sleep with the music on.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
you know
love
how
it.
it starts, and you hear people walking into the thing, and then you hear a little girl cranking a little box, and then and the box stopped, the little song box stopped. I'm laying in the bed like this, and then when I heard, and then it's like, dun dun, my eye popped on something like that. I thought I was an omen. I was like, yeah, I can see with that on. But I love Little Susie, and I felt the same way about History too. I did back in the, I was like, what is this? And then it wasn't until later, then it's like, all right. But I love the remix. I love the Tony Moran remix. Keep moving, I love that remix. That keep moving. So I love the remix. I really do. But
uh,
I'm gonna let you let somebody else get on because I can talk for days. I'll go on. Don't get me started on the allegations. Don't get me started don't get me started on that documentary that was not the leaving blah blah blah. I'm talking about the 40th where it was like Nelson George. That's what you did. That's what you had us waiting all these years for. He didn't
yeah.
even go in deeper on. I would have rather Spike Lee because at least Spike Lee the last two ones he went through every song because he spoke. But in what I and I'm sorry for taking the time. But what I didn't understand with that was he had the people everyone who I watched, they were doing pieces. He spoke to everyone who was in the session. So all the stories about where with human nature, which he should have put in there, the Quincy personal assistant talked about how it was in the middle of the night. They were there finished or whatever, and they was like, "Oh, we can come back tomorrow." And Mike's like, "No, this is the time to do it." And he went in there. The stuff that they thought they was going to he went and sung it in one take, and everyone was like, "Wow!" And and worked out all the parts that he know he already did that, and it rains. I'm like, why he didn't put that story in
Yeah.
there? Why he left so much out? And it was like, anyway. And then, like I said, don't even get me started.
No.
Go on.
You can go,
But
Tony. You've been great.
it was.
Thank you,
We
Tony.
appreciate you, Tony. Thank you. Oh man, this is why I like when we do invite you guys on to take part because if especially when you've been watching the show for a long time, there's so much memories about what we've been doing that you like to share and bring on. So Denzel and Jeremy and Alex and now Tony and Mark. Mark was amazing as well. So the link is here. So anyone joining in, if you want to come and share some of your favorite memories and stuff, please join us. Because it's been fun hearing you guys as well. Ms. J handed from Mark before Tony came in with a lot of amazing stuff as well. What's been your thoughts so far?
What's for my what? To cut you off. Uh-oh.
Frozen.
Say it again.
Oh, it could be that I'm frozen. I thought you were frozen. Yes. What's been your favorites? Or what's been your reflection of what we've just been hearing?
As a fan, I'm loving it. I love to hear people's perspectives and their memories of Michael and the paraphernalia that they have.
Oh yes.
And then like the history. I, of course, because I'm in love with him, I instantly when we have to talk about it on the weekend, but history to me, of course, I love just about every song on there. Little Susie was a little sad, but I don't understand how you did it like certain things, because to me right away, I love it.
We'll save that for Sunday. Don't worry. We'll leave that to Sunday.
Right.
Jeremy is saying that the Michael biopic should actually be a mini series.
Right.
And actually, one of my memories would be the Jackson family movie. The mini series.
Okay.
Because that was, I can't remember who played. No, it was Jason Mike. Yeah. Yes. That was that I actually still have the soundtrack of that. That was really good because what it showed is Quincy Jones said that, not Quincy Jones, the Motown founder, Berry Gordy said that one of the things about Michael was that as a kid he'll be in the studio watching, absorbing. You think he'll just be learning, and so he knew what he was doing. Sunday it's at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, 9:30 UK time. And that's when we're going to go through history, because history is celebrating 30 years this week. And so we definitely have to, that's why we had to do that, because Denzel only agreed to do 10 shows, and there were 30 more added. Oh, yeah. So what Denzel is saying here. So Michael initially had said, okay, I'm going to do 10 shows in London, but the shows sold out in minutes, in seconds. And so AEG added 40 more shows. And they didn't even ask Michael. They said, look, Michael, we sold out. And Michael was like, man, I physically can't do that many shows. I mean, 40 shows is a lot. And he wasn't prepared for that. But I think, but he still had to go on with it. Yeah, so that was a tough one. Those 10 shows sold out quickly. I mean, you're telling me sold out. So I was on the line. And by the time I got through, they said you're on show number 20 something. And so he had the 50 shows, and it sold out. He could have been there for many years and would have sold out. Another memory, Miss J, until somebody else joins us.
Okay, I usually try not to be long-winded with my stories, but you know how Michael Jackson videos like Smooth Criminal, Rock My World, how he goes into a club and then wrecks the whole thing, like craziness happens, right? So my memory would be Rock My World. It happened in real life. When that song came out, I did not used to go to clubs. I'm a little shy, but I did not go to clubs because people used to smoke in clubs once upon a time, and I couldn't stand cigarette smoke. I was shy, so I didn't really dance. And most importantly, they never really played the music I liked anymore. I'm a Michael fan, so they weren't really playing them in clubs. But when Rock My World came out, it was a brand new song. I happened to be in a club for someone's anniversary, but so it was closed to the public. Okay, I'm telling you, a real Smooth Criminal situation happened that night. Okay, so my friends know I don't like to dance, but Michael Jackson came on. You know how Rock My World starts off, and I was like, oh my god, okay. For the first time in my life, I'm about to get up and dance on the dance floor. So I got up, and then that part, okay, I was, Michael, that's what happened. That's what happened in the club. So money started falling all over my head. Somebody came over and started doing, and I'm dressed in like denim. I'm not even sexy, in my opinion. So I'm dancing, shaking my thing, and this guy starts putting money over my head, like making it rain. So I was like, oh no, I'm not a strip. I was a little offended. So the girls were like, you're not picking that money up. I'm like, do I look like a stripper? No. So then they say, okay, you're not gonna pick it. I'll take it. They start stuffing their shirts and stuff. So I'm like, whatever. I walked off the dance floor. I go to sit down. So the music changes, and that same man follows me to my seat and starts singing to me. I'm like, oh Lord, leave me alone. So he's singing an R. Kelly song comes on, You're Contagious. And I'm like, please get away from me. Please get away. Do you know, this is a crazy story, but it's a memory because Michael brought me to the dance floor, but I had to make this man get away from me. Do you know the moment he went away from me, like a Smooth Criminal video, remember how the guns came in blazing? It happened in real life to me. So that person who was singing to me was like the target of the shooters that came in to spray up this place. He just walked away from me. He got shot. The person next to him who he was singing to next got shot. And I had just escaped death. And it was crazy. And it was like a Michael Jackson video in real life. We all had to scatter and run for help and everything. It was just like Smooth Criminal. And yeah, true story. I've never told it. I was going to wait for my story time on my YouTube, but I didn't. I had to share it here.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy memory. Thanks for rocking my world.
Yes. Man, no, I've never. Well, I can't say I remember going to a club where guns are being fired and stuff, but that is a crazy story. Yeah, that's a crazy story. So, guys, it sounds like a Puff Daddy nightclub, as Denzel says. Guys, don't forget to join on and share some of your stories. But I would say that one of my and I've said this before. I moved to America in '92 to go to university, college, And when 92 was the first year that I really followed watched the NFL. So I was watching a few of the matches. The Dallas Cowboys are probably one of the, and 49ers are probably the two most back in the day famous football clubs around the world. So when the Cowboys got to the Super Bowl final, I remember I was surprised that actually, so my first Super Bowl was in 93. And so the whole family's like, yep, we're coming around to watch the Super Bowl. And it turns out that Michael Jackson was doing a halftime show. And this was going to be the first time that they're going to have a sort of a musical act for the halftime show. And so here I am sitting down, I'm watching a match, I didn't really know what's the rules because I'm just sort of in America. So it's a halftime show and you heard James L. Jones say, Radio Music City, and the NFL proudly presents the halftime show, and it was Michael Jackson. And so I'm watching this, and then you know when you're watching it and you just see him on a big screen, and he just spins round and he comes up on top of the monitor, and I was like, what's going on? And then you see him do that the other one, and you're just like, what's going on? And then, just like Mark said, in the middle of the stage, he pops out and he just stands there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm watching for the first time and just seeing this stuff. And I'm thinking, is that really him? Because he stood there for a minute and a half or so. He stood there and I'm thinking, no, that's not him. That's a dummy. Maybe he's going to have to come down from up there. He's going to sing from the top. And now, of course, if you watch the making of the halftime show, the TV executives, they only have 10 minutes. He's spending a minute and a half standing there doing nothing. That's eating airtime. Mm-hmm. But he was just, let it go, man. Let it soak in. Mm-hmm. And then he takes off his glasses. That's when I knew he was real. Oh, goodness. And then he's doing his, oh, goodness. It was just insane. Pasadena. I've been to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Massive, they had the murals and stuff, and it was, so my first Super Bowl was watching the greatest ever do his show. And what, everyone else that comes now, when they do their ranking of favorite Super Bowl moments of halftime shows, they put the Michael one in the top 10, but they don't put it in the top 5. The reason is because when he was the first, everyone after that has had to work twice as hard to do better. Mm-hmm. But if he was the first, if he did it now, he would have outshone them. But he was the blueprint, and now it's easy to build upon the blueprint. And so Prince was great, but he knew what Michael did, and he knew, okay, I could just do something differently. Oh yeah, I got excited. I was almost as I could remember as if it was just yesterday, just mm-hmm. watching that performance and just seeing him. It was a shock for me. Yes. Did you get to watch it? Did you know? Or
did I watch it? The audio is glitching again, but yes, I watched it. I actually still have a magazine clip from.
Did you watch the half?
It's glitching.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Yeah. Yes. And you know how you talked about him standing there for a minute, not doing. It was doing something for me. It was standing there for a minute like a statue, and it was making us lose our mind. It was like, basking in the essence, just watching them, and then how he just moves, like that. That's even something. Like nobody else can do that. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah, as Denzel said that he was repeating the Dangerous tour, but that's the there was there's an audio clip of Jay-Z saying that Beyonce has surpassed Michael, that Michael hasn't done a Coachella, that she's surpassed him, and I don't deny that Beyonce is a good entertainer, but you just heard Mark say that his sister went to the concert. And she missed the entire thing because she passed out. An hour and a half for 2 hours show because she was passed out. You heard Mark say that he was at a show that had 125,000 people and 15,000 were knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no artist today that can do that to one person, not to talk of 15,000 people. There's not one person who could. Mark says that you put up your hand and they're just passing bodies.
That's right.
Now, when we've seen it in those shows, if you watch any of his Moonwalker or Dangerous, the Dangerous Making of Dangerous or stuff, you'd see people passing out, but you think they're just it's fake and not. But people who are there saying people are literally passing out. Beyonce is not doing that.
That's right.
Prince was not doing that. Nobody was not having people pass out on stage. And so there are levels of artists, performers, and you just have, Chris Brown is not doing any of that. Nobody can do that. You just can't invent stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, that was Jay-Z stuff, and I don't think Beyonce believes that. I don't think Beyonce believes that. But anyway, let's talk about another. Until somebody joins us, let's talk about another memory.
Okay, let's see. My turn again. What else do I have? Do I say this one already? I don't know if I said this one. Well, I'll say the Price of Fame Pepsi commercials. I was alive. That was for the Bad album. Remember, he was like being chased by fans, and then he would like run into a restaurant, and then when they like paparazzi and fans were chasing after him, and then he all of a sudden they couldn't find him, and he's in the painting, and then they zoom in on the painting, and then the painting he's jumping off a cliff and he's airborne, and then then he's in a sports car. That was like a series, like it was a series of commercials, and it seemed like a movie. It was just it was the most unforgettable commercials I've ever seen in my life, because I still remember them. Like I watch them now. You can go back on YouTube and still look at them, and I'm still like chest just beating. Like he was so beautiful. It was just so. It was the first time I've ever seen anything like that in a commercial. Yeah, it was amazing. So the Pepsi commercials.
Okay, the
best ones ever. No one's
Okay.
ever done better than that.
I think for me, I want to go to, and I'm just thinking, I'm looking at this stuff here, and maybe I'll go to the and who mentioned? Alex already mentioned this. This was the 30th anniversary concert in 2001, and it's anyone who knows Stephen Hill, who was a former vice president of BET, responsible for all those great BET awards and shows and getting New Edition together. You could see him in the audience screaming and stuff like that. Just seeing Mike with the brothers, seeing him do his stuff. I mean, I remember watching that, and the reason why that show probably wasn't as big as it could have been, much bigger, but it happened the night before 9/11, and they were right opposite. And so normally the next day, people, because it was broadcast on September 10th. Also, September 10th. It was broadcast on, I think it was NBC. I can't remember. And I was in the US at that time, and I was living in LA. My brother came to visit, so we were watching it. But the next morning, instead of it being about did you watch the show and all that stuff, unfortunately, the next morning was 9/11. So it kind of took away the progression of that performance should have had. But it was really good just to see and realize that, man, I wish he could have done some more stuff with his brothers in later years. So it would have made a massive difference and stuff. But Benzine was saying that Rock My World, he was saying that it felt like he was listening to stories of people talking about his looks. Did he cut his hair and stuff?
You talking about for Rock My World?
Yeah, he was. I remember he wore like a scarf or so.
Well, Michael really wore wigs because his the burns affected his scalp. He continuously went under the knife to treat his burns for the rest of his life. So, his hair was always gone. Like it was shaved off. He was wearing wigs.
Yeah.
They did say something rude backstage about coloring him and changing his hair. They were kind of rude, and he kind of hurt his feelings on the set of that video.
Okay. Denzel mentioned about Stephen Hill. So Stephen Hill, massive. I've heard one of his interviews before, and he's spoken about, being at going to every Michael or the Jackson or Jackson 5 concert. So it's a pity that they didn't honor him at the BET Awards. Another performance, and I just remembered because I was saying the story about the 1988 Grammy Award performance before somebody joined in. Michael was supposed to clean shop because Man in the Mirror and Liberian, all those songs should have won, but he got snubbed, and he only won one award, and that was for the video of "Leave Me Alone," best visual video. But he didn't let that affect him. He went on stage and and performed "The Way You Make Me Feel." It was like, oh, that was great. Then he did one of the greatest performances in Grammy history when he did "Man in the Mirror,"
Right.
and I think one of the things that I've recently taken on board, is he actually cared about the planet and about people. So he's singing these songs like "Man in the Mirror." He's singing these songs like "Heal the World," Earth Song. Even history talks about making a difference. He's singing, about, they don't care about us. He's singing about justice and righteousness and doing what is right. And so when he's singing "Man in the Mirror" at the Grammys, even though they shaded him, they didn't give him any awards. They wanted to teach him a lesson because, you cleared shop in 93, 83. We're not going to do that again for you. He put on a performance that really, he said, white man's going to make a change. Stand up. And people were like, oh, do we have to stand up? What's going on? So that was a memory for me, just watching that and the impact he had. He doesn't do "The Way You Make Me Feel" that often. Ryu's asking, what Michael Jackson song do you recommend? I mean, everyone out there, if somebody's if somebody's young and thinking about getting into Michael, what would you tell them to listen to?
Good question. There's not one song I could just say listen to, though.
But I would say that, the biggest selling album, if you listen to Thriller, I'm sure you pick one song from there. And if I was recommending an album, I would just say Thriller or Off the Wall. I think there's a difference between the Michael of Thriller and Off the Wall, who was a little bit more R&B, pop R&B, to when he did Dangerous and History and Invisible. Well, those two, and became a little bit hard in his singing style. On the Line. I haven't listened to that in a long time. I need to listen. It was on the bus. Panthers. Get on the bus. Okay. Yeah, I need to listen to that. PYT. Yep, definitely some good ones. So, Ms. J, another memory. We've got another 15 minutes. So, if anyone wants to join us before we go off, if you want to come on, and we've had some great guests come in to share their memories and stuff. So this is it here. Ms. J, another memory?
Okay. So Michael Jackson always says, learn from the greats and do it better, right? Because he was inspired by Fred Astaire, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. And what I didn't know at the time, he was also inspired by Judy Garland and the 1995 MTV Awards performance of a medley of songs. That performance, it starts off like he's a shadow walking towards the crowd on stage, and as light comes, you see he like, of course, he freezes for a second, and he looks exactly like the cover of the Invincible album. Continues to walk, and then he does a spin to woo! Then boom, and oh my gosh, and then song. There's a couple different. He does a medley performance. There's Dangerous. Oh my god, and he breaks in with "You Know You Want Me" from Janet.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw that performance, lost my mind.
Dangerous,
lost my mind. It was amazing. I feel like that's the best performance of Dangerous he's ever done. To me, it was like groundbreaking, but I didn't know it was like inspired from a Judy Garland performance. Could have never told me that until I saw footage like years later. But like when he takes something like Whitney Houston, when they take something and they make it their own, it's not like, oh, they copied exactly. He takes it and it's done. Like whatever happened before never even existed. When Whitney sings, like when Whitney sings a song, it's hers now. Whoever had it before, doesn't matter. She kills it. He kills it. Amazing performance.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, he hasn't, because when you've watched any of his documentaries, like I can't remember, he talks about learning from Fred Astaire and from James Brown. I can't remember what documentary that was then. It was it the bad one? I can't remember. One of his home documentaries or so that came out that he talks about learning from those guys and from everyone, and but he just makes himself. And so when he said, when you had the Janet stuff, she was there watching, almost like.
Yes.
Like, wow, look what this guy's just done. He's just taking my stuff and everyone's stuff and taking it to another level.
Yes.
No, I love that performance because he was supposed to do the video for Dangerous. If that was supposed to close it out, he was supposed to do the video in a Smooth Criminal type of way. But the whole case situation just changed the whole plans and everything. But yes, that was on my list of memorable moments. The 95 MTV performance. I'm going to say another one just as before anyone else joins us, and that was "Remember the Time," because that was that was on BET when they did the premiere. I think Fox had it as well, but I just remember just seeing the the shadow come through and it went to the ground, and then it just spins into from gold, just spins into this stuff, and this is. Tech was very limited back in the day. And then, the fact that he was, I think, Remember the Time was probably one of Michael Jackson's most important songs.
Videos, yeah.
Well, the video and the song. Well, the video, I think they go hand in hand because after he did Bad, I think there was this concerted effort to say he doesn't like being black. He's turning white, and almost like let's cut him away from his community.
That's right.
And once they can alienate you from his community, then you've got nowhere to defend you. And when he did Remember the Time, he was received by the NAACP. He was on Soul Train, and everyone was like, "Yeah, this is our brother." He did the video showing black excellence. Eddie Murphy as Pharaoh. Iman as Queen Nefertiti, Magic Johnson, even he just showed this is before Black Panther movie, Mike was saying, "Let me show kings and queens and stuff." And I think I dropped off. He was singing a song about love and everything. That was definitely a moment. Remember the Time. Yes, Derek says it premiered on Fox. Premiered it in the 90s. Yeah, they did that. And John Singleton came from. I mean, that's another thing we also have to appreciate. That Mike got John Singleton after he did Boys in the Hood and says, "I'm going to give you a video to do." He got Spike Lee. What did Spike Lee direct?
You said, what did he direct?
Yes, for
they
Michael
don't really
Jackson.
Care about us. They don't really care about us.
He did something before. He did something.
Another one?
only before the second video. I thought he didn't do. I thought Spike Lee did a video for Mike before They Don't Care About Us. I thought he did, but I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely one of the things that I would just have to say is that he just showed his elegance in that time. Did Spike do Jam? I don't know. They Don't Care About Us and the documentary of the world. No. Okay. But anyway, that's just me just thinking out there. But yes, I think, yeah, but that was that. So for me, that Remember the Time was definitely a moment. Yeah. Okay, Miss J, what's another one? Just yeah, we've got about 12 minutes. Anyone that still wants to join us, anyone who wants to be brave, like Denzel and Mark and Tony and Alex and Jeremy, who have already come on to share their memories. Please do so before we finish up here. But yes, Miss J, yes, okay. Another
one would be 1991 MTV 10th anniversary performance of Will You Be There?
Okay.
He performs it on oh, he was gorgeous. And he has that, the white top, the white button down, opened up with the t-shirt exposed and a big gold belt and black pants. And he's standing in front of a car that's like graffiti, full of graffiti on it. And then that performance is amazing. But at the end of it, to me, was something that was memorable as a young person being a chocolate child, a brown skinned girl. He has a beautiful bronze angel come down and wrap her arms around him. That's the first time I've ever seen a black angel. Like I've never, I'm like, oh my gosh, she was gorgeous. And of course that was like, oh wow, I've never seen anything like that before. And of course Beyonce copied that too. But she remembered it so much she had to copy it. That was a memorable, beautiful, because he didn't really perform that song to me a lot. I love that song, and I felt like he didn't do a lot of performances of that song, and that was just memorable.
Yeah, no, definitely. What they're saying in the comments is the how Michael was very innovative when it came to getting movie directors to do his videos. Like, I mean, Martin Scorsese, who's one of the greatest cinema directors ever, directing Bad. I mean, that didn't make sense. He's especially the first part. I think a lot of us forget the first part of Bad when he's coming back from school and then it's black and white. And it's in fact I haven't watched that in a while, so I need to watch that the full version of Bad. But yeah, that was Martin Scorsese. Then getting John Landis, who did to do not just black and white but do thriller. Getting Stan Wilson, who did all the makeups of Jurassic of all the horror movie stuff and Jurassic Park to do the ghost videos. But yeah, he was an innovative person. I would wanted to bring out the Oprah interview in '93.
Backstabber.
So that '93 interview was the world stood silent watching, going through Neverland, seeing his his theater, just seeing his passion for music. That was a massive event and a moment that yes, that was really. And then my only disappointment was I wish he had premiered a different song than Given to Me. I think I wish he had premiered a different song. But anyway, but that was.
Wait a minute, Oprah when he was doing that was the Who Is It intro when he was beatboxing with her on the stage.
Yeah. So and then he did the world premiere of Who Is It during that interview.
You didn't like that?
I didn't think that song was. I think he could have come up with. I would have preferred Why You Want to Trip on Me, one of those kind of funkier tracks. But that's or even Dangerous. I wanted something
bigger.
that would have done better on the radio and would have been a bigger record for him. But who was given to me didn't really do well. It just was. It didn't go up the charts, and that was just my thing about that. Okay, Latin San says in France on TV news at 8 o'clock there was always the last music video of MJ. Wow. Yes. Okay. So got into so Jay. What any other ones for you? We've got about 5 more minutes. If no one else is coming on board, any other?
I have the Moonwalker movie. I don't know if I said that before, but because that's like a personal and like just watching it. I could watch. I must have something because I have OCD for sure, but I can sit there and watch his stuff over and over and over again. Like there's nothing else on the planet happening. And I had a niece, and I was a child myself, but I had a niece that was like getting potty trained, and I remember like making her watch it when she was being potty trained. Like, okay, look, we gotta watch this. You have to go potty. And my family would be like, okay, an hour later, why are you still watching Michael Jackson? And why is that child still in the potty? I would try to make my niece get off the potty, but she was obsessed with Moonwalker so bad that she did not want to get off the it potty trained her. She didn't want to get off the potty. And so every time she was like, I gotta go potty, can we put on Michael Jackson? And they were like, what are you doing to this child? She was like 2 years old, obsessed with Michael Jackson, Moonwalker. And it was just so, to me, that was even innovative too. With the claymations and him turning into the rabbit and him and the rabbit dancing off, the dance off. Like,
Yeah, Spike. Yeah. I just watched it recently about a month or two ago, and from start to finish. So that was definitely a great one. Oh yeah, that Sammy Davis tribute was another good one. And so there's one more two more that I wanted to bring up. I think the 93 Grammy Awards, he didn't perform, but Janet Jackson introduced him to give him the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. And they went through his catalog of achievements and everything. And to see both of them on stage, and then he says, Janet and I are really two different people. So giving her the compliment, saying, I mean, you're so good, they think you're me. But he also, he also talked about, he says people went from where is he to there he is again, because that 93, I think that's, if you're going to, so if you think about it, he started with Super Bowl. He was on he was on BET. He did the Oprah stuff, and he did the Oprah stuff, and then they did the whole Joey Chandler stuff to derail his success. Now we've got somebody else joining us. I'm waiting for the video to come on, and then of Katerina. Let me see. Hello, are you there? Hello? Oh, just dropped off. Maybe trying to get the video on. Okay. So it was sad that when he was building momentum and being embraced, and everyone was like, "Hey, this is Mike." Yeah. He sat next to Ella Cool J. So when Janet was talking, Ella was just giving him a pat on his shoulder. Man, I probably watched that. His speech and the whole stuff for so many times. I can't remember anything else from that day. Okay. Okay, Katrina, are you there? Hello? Oh, we can't see or hear you.
Hi. Hi.
Yes.
My computer is not camera. Okay.
No problem. Don't worry.
I'm a fan of Michael Jackson today. My 16-year fan of Michael Jackson. I like him then since 9 years old.
Wow.
And is a lot time. 16 16 years without a musician and a composition and whatever you call it. And I honored to join you today. And it's history. Was this is it?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that you joined us, and you know, it doesn't. It just seems. It just seems shocking that it's been 16 years. He wasn't yet 50 years old, so he was still a young person compared to how many of us who are just at 50. Compared to see how young he was and how much he still had to offer and give. But that's why we wanted to use this opportunity to celebrate his music and his legacy, and definitely the impact that he made as well. But where are you calling us from today? Where are you based?
Portugal.
Oh, you're in Portugal.
Portugal.
You're in Portugal. Okay. No, definitely. No, it's definitely good that you've been able to join us, at least to share a few things as well. Yeah.
I have two pictures of him in my room, tying pops, two pops of him, and it's a lot. But is so many things he did for me and for a fan, and I wrote my original lyrics, and for him to and can share to original lyrics by me. The first one is fan of Michael Jackson.
Okay.
The second one is facts don't lie, people do.
Wow.
I wrote about your the commentary this Live in Neverland came out, and my first my story I'm getting bad, but he is so angelic. Is your music, and I like.
Yes, well, thank you. I mean, you know, we have to appreciate Katrina being from Portugal, so Portuguese is her first language, but she has used the opportunity to try and speak to us in English and to show her appreciation, and also it shows that actually Mike has a global reach, and doesn't matter what your first, second, or third language is, that his music definitely speaks to all of us. So appreciate that you came on to share and join us this evening. Take care.
Thank you. And remember,
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Remember, can you feel the lyrics? All the people in the world should come together in harmony. That was his message of coming together. And can you feel it video? That was what the Jacksons show.
Yes. Okay. We've got somebody in the lobby. I'm just going to see. Who is this here? Okay, Tony, you're back.
Yeah, let's go back. But we're listening to Katarina. It made me realize that it was Katarina, right?
Yes.
Just last. It made me realize that you already know his great global reach. But when you hear them talk, it's like, oh, okay, okay. But I heard you talking earlier before I came on the first time about the Grammy Awards, which was I think of the 89 Grammy Awards.
89, yeah.
That I remember Kurt Loder, who I can't stand. because he had the commentary. Michael's high and great lows because he put that performance because I was thinking about the Man in the Mirror performance,
Mm.
which had Saida Garrett singing background, and
Yeah.
that was one of my favorites.
Yes.
But when you put the thing down about what song you introduced, it's funny 'cause I had a coworker about in the 2000s, and she was from India, and she never, she didn't know Michael. And everyone liked to give you one song. I'm like, nah, I can't give you one. So I wish I had the little playlist, but I gave her songs from Destiny to to um to what is that? Invincible. But it might have been like two songs from Destiny, and I think it was That's What You Get for Being Polite in Destiny, and then a song from Triumph. I might have picked um doo-doo-doo, dum-dum-dum-dum-dum, Heartbreak Hotel.
Okay. Okay.
Heartbreak Hotel and Walk Right Now,
Mm.
and then one or two songs. But I because what I feel like is you can say, oh, listen to this song, but I want you to, for me personally, I want you to see where I want you to see the gradual progression.
Mm-hmm.
These are all great songs, but it was like, all right, got better and better and better. So I couldn't pick one song and say, oh, this is what I. So I had to do a playlist. And what's funny was, years later, she's like, oh my God. She said, oh, that was great what you put together. Because I think the last one was Whatever Happens was
Mm.
the final track. Or was it, I wish I could find the thing. 'Cause you sent me a picture,
Mm.
because when back in the day when you made CDs, and if you did it on your Apple, you make the paper folder. She sent me a picture. Said, "You remember this?" I was like, "Oh, oh yeah, I remember." But it was something I was gonna say that I missed the last time. But I love you guys. You said you only had
Okay.
12 minutes,
You.
so I
Yeah.
was coming. I was coming to fill up your 12, but
It's
so,
fine. Thanks, Tony. Take
see you.
care.
Now,
Uh, Tony's great. Go ahead, Miss
can you
J.
see this? I'm sharing this because MV mentioned the bubble gum and the playing cards. So that's what this is from the 80s.
Is
Can you
that
see
the
it?
playing cards or the bubble gum?
This is both. They're all in this package.
Okay. Wow. Yes. So yes. So we've had this opportunity. And oh yeah, Heavy Day and the Boys and Jodeci sampled a Heartbreak Hotel um, from a Peaceful Journey. Definitely one of my favorite Jackson tracks is Heartbreak Hotel. But Miss J, we have filled out almost 2 hours tonight doing this tribute to Michael Jackson, who sadly passed away today, 16 years ago. Um, and, you know, even kids who were 5 or 6 years old still know who he is and still celebrate him. I know people could say the same about Elvis, but um, as a kid, I knew about Elvis, but he died before I was born. But I don't remember too many of his songs. But he used to play a lot of his stuff. But right now, my kids don't know Elvis. Um, I don't know if my kids know Prince, but they all know Michael Jackson, even the youngest. And so it says a lot about how the impact he's left. Every music video that you see elements of him in there. People, if you're performing with a group of people in there, you are doing some elements of the Thriller choreography. Um, that doesn't change. And there, as much as streaming services come around and people say, "Oh, they've streamed 1 billion records," it means really absolutely nothing, because I could watch a video on YouTube. It doesn't cost me a penny, and it doesn't mean anything to the art for me to the artist. But if you're one of the 70 million people that went out and bought Thriller, you paid money for it. You went to a shop, you brought it home and played it. You can't equate. If 30 million people bought Dangerous album, they had to go out and buy it, and put it in their car. It wasn't about just watching it on TV and counting. So there was a difference in what his sales and what his impact is, and we can only just appreciate what we received. Hopefully, the biopic, a 2-part biopic, is going to be good, and hopefully, as Mark says, that the estate do finally make a deal with will.i.am and any of these other artists, producers who have unreleased tracks, and really bring them out. But anyway, never cared much for Prince, being a Michael fan. I would say that they respected and appreciated each other. Latoya said Prince wanted to date her, so the family knew Prince as a kid when we were young, and I think there was a lot of love between all of them. And I had it on good authority from I can't remember now. One of Prince's, I can't remember, Tavis Smiley, who was on BET, spoke about when Michael died that they spent all night talking, just the two of them, about Mike. That Prince really, it shook him really hard. It shook him really hard when Mike died, and I know that he felt, because he knew them. They a lot of times we see the big for images, for record labels, for sales and publicity. They build up this rivalry stuff, but deep down there was a lot of love and appreciation for both of them. If you ever see the video of James Brown performing and Michael comes up and sings, and Mike tells James Brown, "Hey, Prince is in the audience. You need to bring him up." So if Michael didn't like Prince, he wouldn't then try and give Prince the spotlight to shine. Now Prince was a little crazy. He tried to jump around and overdo stuff, but they were all good friends and stuff like that. So, Miss J, I'll let you have the sort of final word just before we close for this 2-hour tribute. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I appreciate everyone who came on.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to get emotional, so I don't. It's been 16 years, y'all, and I'm still crying. Okay, I'm still crying. So, I think that man. I can't do it because I want to start crying. But this day was the first anniversary of his death, and I met Joe, and I actually got to.
That's his dad, Joe Jackson.
That's his dad, Joe Jackson. Yes, I got to meet him, and I understand how Michael's childhood was, but before he passed away, he said that him and his father, he understood better. He forgave him, and that man did love his son. He just had a different way of, showing it. He was a disciplinarian, but he did love Michael, and just like Michael, he would stand there and stare for about a minute or two. But I had a button of Michael on my dress because that was the same exact dress. I'm a crazy person for Michael, so I used to wear that dress every anniversary. I ended up throwing it away because it was kind of sad to me. I'm like, I don't want to be sad all the time. But I had his button on me, so I think that's another reason why Joe was staring at me like. And I got to thank him for giving the world true inspiration in music, entertainment, fashion, and togetherness. He was about uniting people and empowering people, inspiring people to be better entertainers and better people. So that was Michael is to me. He was everything.
No, definitely. So I would say everyone who took part, for those who are brave and gracious enough to come on live, we truly appreciate. Denzel, Alex, Mark, Jeremy, Tony, and Katrina. I don't think I'm missing anyone. So for joining us live, thank you very much. And help making this show, because we've been on for 2 hours, but we didn't really have a set format. And then finally, this Sunday, because this last week is the 30th anniversary of the History album, so it came out 30 years ago. So on Sunday, we're doing our top 10. We're going to rank the 15 tracks, but from 10 to 1. But we'll do the review with the 15 to 11. And John, who is one of the members of Troop, a massive Michael fan, will be live with us, and he'll share stories about when they've encountered Michael over the years. But for myself and Miss J, we truly appreciate you guys, and definitely look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. Thanks very much, and see you Sunday.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
Somewhere in between.
For even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
Well, that works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas' voice meant in all spirits.
Play it.